Hello, thank you for joining us. My name is Kristen Hatcher, and I work here at Stardock with Paul Boyer. Hello, Paul.
Hello.
Paul is the lead designer on Galactic Civilizations 3, and we're going to be talking about that today. For those of you who don't know, Paul and I are married, so if he refers to me as that vicious harpy, that would be why.
Have I ever referred to you as that vicious harpy?
Yes.
No, I haven't.
There was one time in 1998 when you did.
At the Renaissance Fair?
At the Renaissance Fair, and I remember it now.
Okay, all right.
All right. So what are we going to be talking about today, Paul?
Well, I don't have much new stuff in the actual build because we're in the middle of adding things for, at least I don't think I do. We're in the middle of adding stuff. Yeah, I don't see the snathy here.
Mm-hmm. Hey, what's that?
What's what?
The last character there.
Oh, that's a DLC race. I mean, not a DLC race, downloaded.
Oh,
race,
gotcha. Yeah.
Yeah.
A workshop race. Okay.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, that's the one that Derek made.
It's lovely. Well,
it's
I don't know about lovely, but
it's kind of cool. It's got a neat gimmick that you start with 3 colony ships, but a crappy planet. So you either get a really good advantage or really early, or you die horribly. It's kind of but that makes it a challenge.
What do you have in your hand there?
Oh, well, I was going to show this off, but I don't think people will be able to see it. It's not a giant white spider.
It looks like a spider.
Well,
is it a spider?
It is a 3D printed ship from the game.
Very cool.
That we.
Is it a? I feel like I'm in the game.
It's actually a prototype Dreadlord ship that we didn't end up using. I think it actually is in the game if you have the DLC, and you can find it and use it as a ship design, but it's not one of the actual Dreadlord ships. It's a little too spider-like, but that's why it's cool. Anyway, so we printed this out through the in-app thing. I think it was like $12 or $13.
That's
like
not bad.
Yeah, it's really neat. It's a good example. I wish that people could see it a little better.
Well, the detail. I mean, they can see it fine.
You see those tiny little points on the ends of the
thing?
Those are things where like the printer would yell and say, "This is going to be too fragile."
Right.
But it really actually...
It did fine.
Came out amazing.
Well, that's good.
I mean, if you like put weight on it or something, you'd probably break it.
Well, sure.
If you're building,
are you telling me we can't stand on these things?
Yeah, you're not gonna be
okay.
Probably, but if you're like playing a RPG or something and you want to use them, you can make some really neat stuff. Anyways, I just thought I'd show that off because Bara had printed it and got it back in, and I wanted to. I was
well,
really
it's
impressed.
pretty cool.
Anyway,
pretty
so
cool. And we could have printed that in solid gold, but we didn't want to.
Yeah, the price goes from like $13 to like $300 or $400 the minute you go into metals. They don't have like pot metal. I really wish they just had like tin or bronze.
Right.
Something cheaper.
Yeah.
But I guess it probably. Oh, I didn't mean to start as these guys. Well, what the hell? So here they are.
Wow, neat.
Race. So yeah, you get 3 colony ships and this crappy planet with one tile.
One.
Yeah, this is
wow.
What's funny is Derek is a big modder, and he has these great ideas, but they're really balance breaking, which is why he likes them.
Yes.
But it makes it hard for poor me. As a matter of fact, like I have to kill this just to put a right. You didn't even really have one tile. Yeah. I mean, I guess if I get terraforming, which might make terraforming the most important tech to me, actually, now that I think about it, I wonder if he ever thought of that. Probably. So anyways, that is, matter of fact, I'm just going to put this all on research. Anyway, so that's this is you've already seen this race. Players have had access to this for a long time. Let me see if anything new is here. Oh no, darn, that's not in yet either. I mean, it's in. Okay, so in 1.3, what I'm going to talk about today is just the stuff we're adding. 1.3, the main focus is getting rid of some of the micromanagement. So
all right, we already had a question about that too.
Yeah, so I mean. Now, let me say, not all problems will be fixed in 1.3, which is like 3 weeks away or 2 weeks away. But we will start. We should be able to make a substantial dent.
Great.
One of the most requested things is this fleets.
Mm-hmm.
And then you can collapse and uncollapse the fleets to see the individual ships.
That'll be in 1.3?
That'll be in 1.3.
Okay.
It's also a little smarter. It shows the stats a little better. Like if a ship is in a fleet, it doesn't bother showing its range because the range is limited by the fleet's overall range. It doesn't show its moves because the fleet is. So we can make this a little tighter. I'm still actually kind of polishing up the entries, but it works really good now. Let's see. We're making it so now shipyards and starbases are separate lists, and they have better filters. And the ships have much better filters now. You can sort by strength or defense or size or
nice.
all kinds of stuff like that.
Nice.
We're also doing that for the colonies. The shipyards are pretty simple. They don't really need too much filtering. The other thing is we're reworking this rally point window.
Okay.
So like now if I select this ship and say go to, you get this crappy list. And the problem with this list is once you have a lot of things, the planets, the rally points, starbases, this becomes kind of unusable. So we're switching this over to be a tabbed interface. So by default, it'll start with rally points. But if you want to send somebody to a starbase, you click starbases and you can, or a shipyard or whatever. And then in addition, we're adding a mini map. So when you click a rally point, it'll show where that is in the galaxy. And so
gotcha.
and maybe if we have time, we might even have like a little line pointing to like the route your ship would take to get to it. But that might have to wait.
Okay. Well, that's all very good.
So that's two things. Now that's actually the rally point thing, I think, is a huge thing because one of the biggest problems is we rely a lot on the commands to minimize micromanagement. And because the rally points were so kind of hard to manage, this becomes hard to manage. So so hopefully that'll help.
Are you getting sick over there?
No, I'm having one of my freaking sinus things because life sucks. Anyway, so we also added a fleets thing here. So now you could say all fleets going here, go here.
Okay.
So that'll make life a little easier. So you don't end up pulling ships out of fleets or disbanding fleets by accident.
Okay. Well, that all sounds really good. We have a question.
Wait. There's more.
There's more.
And then on the planets,
there's more.
we're adding governors. So the way the governors are going to work is there'll be a list of governors here, and the governors will have bonuses to spending. So if you pick this an economic governor, it might actually give your a bonus to wealth spending.
Wealth, okay.
Now, if you pick a governor, you can't adjust the sliders separately. So it's a one or the other option. But this is to hopefully make it so that players don't have to micromanage their worlds. But we also didn't want to go so far as to just completely, at least not yet, get away with the slider because the people who really, really care are going to want to do this.
Sure. So you have an option if you want to do it.
But you'll have an option. And we may, I keep saying this, I know everybody's going to yell at me, we may get rid of this completely.
What?
Because it is really hard. It's not that it's bad, it's that it's great. It's too powerful. So the hardcore players feel they have to micromanage each planet all the time. And we're hoping that with the governor focus, we can bring it back to where you really are just adjusting your global economy and the governors will give you a push the direction you want to go. But we're not doing that yet. We're going baby steps.
We have a question. Nasalus asked, will the AI be able to use governors?
Yes. Well, the AI already uses governors.
Okay.
The player has never had access to the AI's governors. Now, that said, the AI governors, some people criticize, and rightfully so, because I'm going through them and realizing that they could be a little smarter. So they're essentially handmade by me. So I'm going to go through and as I make the human ones, we'll make smarter AI ones.
Okay.
The other thing that we're going to do, not in this one, but eventually, is we're going to make it so you can make your own governors.
Very nice. Eris Child asked, do we get to define our own governors?
Not yet, but that's what I just said. Yes, you will.
Yeah.
I wanted to do it in 1.3, but it's a little too big of a task. It mostly has to do with, like all things, multiplayer.
Mm-hmm.
The minute something has to work over multiplayer where this governor exists just for you, it needs to be able to share, and then it has to become a data type and a data structure and blah, 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 blah. And it was like we could either make it so players could define them in 1.3 and do like half the stuff that we wanted to do, or we could push that. So right now we're going to start with pre-canned governors, see how people like them, and then we'll add custom governors after that.
Okay. All right. You ready for another question?
I am.
All right. Creature of Existence asked, could we get a small square where we could write anything in it and it will find it within your empire?
Oh, you want to search?
And also like a GalCiv Google thing. Yes. That's to shorten the question. Yes. He wants a search.
That's kind of a neat idea.
Yes.
Oh, wow. I obviously not right away, but I do like the idea. I will make a note of it. We kind of do that in the tech tree already.
You do?
Yeah, you can say
I never
turbo.
noticed that. That is, I feel silly.
Well, it was a late added feature.
Yeah.
But yeah, so apparently we don't have anything called turbo. It must be in the description, the tur. Oh, manufacture. Oh, that's funny. So I could say food. And there's food distribution.
There you go.
And it'll take you to it in the tree and everything.
Very nice.
So yeah, we could do something like this. It would be hard to, we have to figure out, because you'd be comparing a bunch of lists, but I'm assuming you'd be like, oh, I want to know where that planet was. So you type in EAR and then it's like Earth, but then also Earth Fleet might show up, or Earth Rally Point,
right,
or Earth Starbase, all of which is fine because that would be awesome. So I do like that idea a lot. It is not something that we have currently planned, but I might put it on my wish list.
Larsenix asked, I want to trade or sell my fleets to the AI. Can we do so in 1.3?
Oh, instead of individual ships? Not in 1.3, but it's not a bad idea. Matter of fact, I thought we had that planned. I'll have to check the schedule. Yeah.
Okay. Zapgun for Hire asked, speaking of rally point management, I've been using them to simulate launch directions from shipyards, planets, starbases. Can we ever get the ability to set a launch direction for a planet, shipyard, starbase so I don't have to spam rally points everywhere?
Yeah.
He's deep in thought.
Maybe. The thing that's weird about that is normally let me unsoak. Is he manually eject? Is he using the eject button? The reason why we never did launch directions is because if you select a ship here and just eject it, it will automatically launch toward that. I guess if you're building ships in a shipyard and you want them to launch to a specific tile, that could be useful. Maybe we'll bring that back. It was never really, we thought we'd kind of gotten rid of the need for that simply by having the ability for you to manually eject.
Well, we'll see if Zapgun for Hire comes back.
No,
with
I'm sure. I
additional...
see exactly what he wants. I just never, we just didn't realize that you'd need that. But the hardest part about that is you have to have like an interface for it. But I don't think that would be that hard. We could probably just put a little button here that lets you pick. Yeah, I like the idea, but no current plans for it.
It's an awfully pretty starbase, by the way.
It's the Iconian one. See, when you only play Altarians, you never see it.
Hey, I played as the Terrans the other day. I tried to mix it up a little bit.
Played as the white humans instead of the blue humans.
Hey, I didn't want to play as the Drengen, so...
Well, that's a good point.
Yeah.
I like playing as the Actually, I like the Iconians. I like the Thalians, and I like the Iridium a lot.
Well, I told myself I need to actually play some additional races and try them all.
Yeah.
So I'm going to make my way through them. Explorminate asked, can we get a race or faction that does better building tall rather than wide? Now, I'm guessing he means so we can make better use of those tiles, those buildable tiles on a planet's surface. This is a bad example, but like if you only have one buildable tile, certainly you want to maximize and build a skyscraper on that.
That would require like a whole new class of improvement. I guess maybe I'm not entirely sure how. I don't know if there's really a way that we could even do that. Here now, I own half the galaxy. Let's see what happens. Yeah, I don't know. I said that's an interesting. Whoa. Apparently, I own more than half the galaxy.
Ghost units against pirates. That sounds like a totally different game.
So tall is a wide. So
So the factory would be, instead of being whatever 2 stories that it may be right now, it could be 20 stories.
Oh,
that's what I think. He means.
I mean that's what I said. It seems like that's kind of not really at all the way things work. So I would have to. I need more detail from him too.
Well, Explorminate said that I'm wrong. He said it means a race that does better at colonizing fewer planets. Apparently, there's a whole tall versus wide debate out there.
You know, that would be so hard to balance. But maybe if I could think of a way. I mean, I'm always looking for new ways to make races interesting. So maybe.
Okay. All righty. Eris Child asked, will Hyperion buildings be set to affect ships empire-wide?
No, because the whole point of them, actually, a couple of them already do. I forget which ones. Like the miniaturization one, I think miniaturizes globally. But the point of them is like, if you have 3 planets powering one shipyard and you put like a Hyperion logistics center and a Hyperion life support center and a Hyperion on those 3 planets, the ships coming out of that shipyard are going to be amazing. And that's kind of the point. If they work just globally, then they're just a bonus, and they might as well just be any other wonder. So the gimmick is that they're like for building one particular special place.
Gotcha. Okay. Let's see here. So Larson X wanted to know, post 1.3, will there be a patch that is solely dedicated to AI behavior, such as planning war and better planet specialization?
Well, the planet specialization we're working on now. That'll be part of the governor.
Will that be part of, that's 1.3 then?
Yeah, that's one of the governors.
All right.
The AI will be better at building planets.
Okay.
The war planning and stuff, yes, is all the stuff that we have grandiose plans, and we're going to kind of sneak stuff in as much as we can. Although, yes, the 1.4 will be more focused on AI than anything else. There's some diplomacy and mostly AI and diplomacy.
Okay.
Apparently, I keep accidentally stopping my soak. Of course, there's not going to be a very interesting game when I've just taken all the planets. So let me exit and restart here.
Creature of Existence asked, could there be an option for a more advanced prototype technology? And then I think he's got a second part of the question. Also, the AI could use them a lot more since they rarely use them.
Yeah, that's one of the things we're
conquest.
actually working on, is trying to get the AI to better handle using the resources and building support modules and prototype weapons and stuff. Right now, it tends to go, oh, do I have something? Do I have a Tarantium? Okay, I'll build a prototype weapon. Whereas we need to get it to where it kind of goes, oh, I want this prototype weapon. I'm going to get me some Durantanium to build it. And then once I have it, I'm going to build as many as I can. And I'm going to make sure I upgrade to the best one. And so, yeah, we're working on all that.
Okay. Hamelmack asked, in the map editor, is there a way to place extreme planets of a specific type?
Yes. You place planet.
Mm-hmm.
And then you go down to, on the little drop down to the left, there's it says planet trait.
Mm-hmm.
And you just go and pick the specific trait, because the extreme worlds are all are essentially a trait.
A trait.
So
okay.
down there it'll say radioactive, toxic, barren, and you just select that. Boom, there you go.
All right. So Zap Gun for Hire said, Paul, you want to talk about your Snathy? Admit it. Just give in to the temptation and talk a bit about them.
I'm working on the Snathy actually right now, and they're coming along. I'm hoping to have them maybe show them next week. We've got their ships. We've got their leader done. I just was finishing up their tech tree today. They have a cool new trait that is going to be, if you have the DLC, will be available to anybody playing if you want to make a custom faction. That's called Scavenge. And with that, you can essentially, you have an X% chance of taking a ship from your opponent if you win a battle.
Mm-hmm.
Now it comes with like 1 hit point, so you can't just like snowball across the galaxy. But the Snathy are also really good at repair, so they'll get hit. You'll get a ship. If you could keep that ship long enough, it'll repair itself, and then you can go out and wreak havoc in the galaxy.
Nice. Wreaking havoc in the galaxy is what we all want.
It's a really fun little trait. At first it was like 100%, and it was way overpowered. So the Snathy were just destroying everyone.
Right.
But
Good times.
Once you have it working correctly, it's pretty cool. And then and then in their tech tree, the gimmick with their tech tree is that they're the whole gimmick with them together is that they're scavengers. They can repair ships really fast. They can build ships really fast. They build their ships out of, actually they have their own parts, but they use some other parts. They kind of are supposed to look like the scavengers of the galaxy. So their tech tree is also like that, where they will actually have, like, they have factories. They have regular factories, but they also have slave pits, because they essentially take the technology from the dredge, and they're like, oh, I see, that's a good idea. And so they have like this kind of higgledy-piggledy text tree with some unique text, but mostly it's like, essentially, this is a tree that has a bunch of the unique text from other races, and then some of the normal texts are just gone. So, and that's mostly to balance the fact that they have a lot of advantages. So we'll see. We'll see how people like it.
Okay. And is that DLC coming with the 1.3 release?
That'll be in 1.3. That's the 1.3 one. I'm assuming it will come out about then. You're also going to have a Snathy campaign that will be
nice.
The Revenge of the Snathy, which is where you break free of your prison world and you crush the galaxy.
I like crushing the galaxy.
Yeah, and it's funny because I'm going to make the humans the bad guys, and your goal is to just wipe them out. And so it's not for people who love humans, I guess. But
well, who
you get to kill
does?
everyone
Who
else
likes
too.
humans? Really?
I have like one of the texts they have is the dredge and slave recycling tech, and in their description it's like, the dredge got this eating slaves right, but they forgot that the dredgen are the most tasty of all. That's how evil. So I'm trying to flesh out their tech tree to be a little more flavorful too, because
nice.
But there's so much text, it makes me cry.
Yes.
So anyways, that's what I'm working on with them. I'm sure there's something else we forgot with the Snathy, but that's just the DLC, and that's primarily just me and Brandon doing that, and then the rest of the team is working on the micromanagement stuff.
Okay, very good.
So you won't ever see this anymore.
See what the long list of.
Ship.
Okay.
Well, I mean, I guess in theory, if you only ever build single ships, you'll
right? If you don't build a fleet, right? Yeah. Okay. Jono LR asked, is it possible to make the text areas for the race info when you start the game be scrollable? It popped the strengths and weaknesses section for a custom race I did out of the window and displayed it at the top left of the screen for what I suspect is due to having too much text there.
I think I could add a scroll bar to that, but we always make sure when we decide the text that it doesn't.
That it's not too long for the space.
I never thought to bother adding one. But yeah, that's a good point. I will see about sticking a scroll bar in there, and that should take care of your issue. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm sure he'll be very happy with that. Hamelmack asked, when will the ship designer get its next update?
Probably not till 1.5, because we just have so many things, and really our priority right now is making the game better. And the ship designer, as much as it could be cooler, is pretty cool already. So we really have to pay mostly attention to gameplay issues at the moment.
Mm-hmm. All right. Zapgun for Hire asked, will Snathy be playable by people?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. As a matter of fact, that's kind of the whole point of the thing, is that it's you could play them in the campaign, but you could also just play them as a regular race, or you could put them in your map as. And actually, just to be clear, this is the Snathy Revenge, which is a sect of the Snathy that is particularly mean.
Okay.
Because I didn't take out the Snathy Minor race because it would cause issues. So essentially there's two Snathy now, but the Snathy Revenge is the mean and dangerous one.
Gotcha. Explorminate asked, when is 1.3? He says he didn't hear. It's 2 to 3 weeks, but we don't have a specific date to announce at this time. So
it's probably early September.
Yeah. Okay. Early September. Cyclonus has a long question. I'm going to try and not mess it up too badly. Anomalies in Galciv 2 were color-coded at the strategic level. In Galciv 3, there's currently no possible way to color-code anomalies at the strategic level. Modders do not even have the ability to provide a mod version because there is no code to support the feature. Currently, all anomaly strategic icons share the same line of color for icon.
Yeah, I think in Galciv
line of code.
2,
sorry,
the
for
only
icon color.
one we actually color coded was wormholes. You could actually, you're right. I think that was planned, and I'm tempted to go dig into the XML right now. But that would actually be a nice thing to add. One of the things that this was a little debate between me and Brad is I really like to color code everything.
Mm-hmm.
And Brad doesn't like that because if everything's color coded, it steals.
It's just a mishmash of color.
Yeah. So there was a hot debate amongst that. So I think that at the very least, we could probably add support for color coding them, and even maybe for changing their icon. And then, but it certainly isn't a super high priority, but I like the idea. I would say at least by the first expansion, we'll probably support something like that.
Okay. Nacelus asked, will it ever be made possible for modders to add new strategic resources? We currently can't.
You can't add new strategic resources. Are you sure?
I'm not sure.
I'm pretty sure you should be able to add new strategic resources.
Okay. That sounds like a question then for the forums
that's a little more detailed. But there's a strategic resource. There's strategic resource art def. I don't think there's anything that says this is the particular resource. You know what might break down is this list.
What
but
list?
I don't even think that would break.
Yeah. That list.
I would have to look, but I'm pretty sure if you know all the right files to tweak, I think you can. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe there's some sort of enum somewhere that is got it hard coded.
All right. Tetrasodium asked, is there any chance 1.3 will improve Scout / add a Scout stars type option to help with early micromanagement and AI colonization? Right now, Scout works kind of like my Roomba and just wobbles aimlessly through the nearby fog of war covered areas the ship can reach.
Oh, so you want it to go to the stars, particularly to the stars. That is not a bad idea. The primary goal of Scout is not necessarily to find planets as it is to clear fog.
Mm-hmm.
And that is why it does what it does.
Mm-hmm. I would like to be able to set it to go in widening concentric circles.
Yeah, that's great until you're on a corner. And then it ends up like wasting a bunch of time.
That's true. You're right.
But I mean, it's certainly the algorithm can be improved, and we will probably eventually do that. Okay. I don't mind. I like the idea of maybe weighting it to go towards stars, but we don't want it to only go to stars.
Mm-hmm.
So think about it.
Yeah. You think about that.
I'll think about it. There's a lot to think about.
There's a lot to think about.
Yes.
There is a lot. It's a big game. All right. Zingo7 asked, what about on insane maps, late game constructor micromanagement hell?
That is, we're actually going to completely redo
he looks
the way
mad.
constructors work in 1.5. Actually, we're going to be working on it. Well, we're working on 1.4 because it's rather substantial. So we don't actually. There was a couple little things I wanted to do in the meantime, but since we're just going to pretty much completely change the system, it's going to have to wait till 1.5. So there's the rally. I will say you can do a lot with your rally points that will minimize that, and maybe you're not doing that because the windows suck and everything like that. But,
right.
So
some of the 1.3 changes might even help with
should help
some of that.
Little, but we didn't we're not refactoring constructor management at this point because we're going to change it substantially in 1.5.
Yeah. You know, I always play the game totally zoomed out, and it's really quite pretty when you're zoomed in. I should zoom in more often.
It's like depends on. I'm the same way, except for like I will play like this because it depends on the size of your empire. Once you're really big, then you almost have to play zoomed out.
Yeah, I like playing on insane maps.
Yeah,
because then it takes longer. I feel like I get more bang for my buck.
Oh, I understand completely.
Yes. All right, so I'm going to totally mess up this name. Jay Malabsino asked the Scout Stars is important for AI on non-tight clusters, abundant type games. That doesn't sound like a question to me, but does that make sense to you? The Scout Stars are important for AI on non-tight clusters, abundant type games.
Oh, because it'll wander off into the void. But the thing with that is there's delicious anomalies out there.
There are delicious anomalies where you can get some money.
Out there is actually useful. Now, maybe it's not as useful as scouting stars. What I tend to do is just build a few scouts and then send them to a certain area I want them to scout, and then I'll hit scout, and then it'll tend to randomly kind of expand out from there.
Gotcha.
So if you send it to the middle of a cluster and then hit auto explore, you'll get a little bit of what you want. But no, I like the idea of having it prefer it, but it almost is worthy of a separate directive, but it seems like a very specific thing. So I'll think about it.
Zingo7 said he loves insane maps, though star bases become laggy when reaching 300. Is there a cap on star bases? The amount of star bases you can or should have. That is a lot of star bases. I don't think I've ever had that many.
I do not believe there is a cap. It might literally just be laggy because, I don't know, the list is too long.
Maybe.
So, I guess I need to know what he means by laggy. It might also be if it's
I should try it. I should have an insane map and try building 300 star bases.
Maybe he means the animations start chugging. That could be because they're all technically like being rendered together, and maybe 300 is where like the threshold of frame rate starts to die. But or it could literally be like this list is unmanageable because it's 300 long.
That certainly
it could be
would
that frame
be the
rate
case.
is just dying.
Yeah.
So I imagine if you have 300 star bases, you probably have 3,000 ships, or
right. Yeah.
I'd be curious to see more details into that.
Got a few questions here. Everybody's got all these questions. Zingo7 followed up saying, I have played 3 games in previous games and Starbase has become laggy, as in upgrades reaching 300. So each upgrade becomes diminishing in time. Like the upgrades don't do as much for you for the Starbase?
Well, that's probably on purpose, but I'd have to experiment with it. But yeah, you want those. I mean, at some point the Starbase has to like be dialed down a little. If you just keep pumping into it and it becomes too powerful, they become game breaking. So a lot of times we have things that, we want the curve to always go up, but the curve might go up slower as it gets bigger.
Hamelmack asked about survey ships again. Will they get smarter instead of several going for the same anomaly?
That's whoa. That was crazy.
Whoa, what was that?
I think because I cleared fog, he probably thought that there was fog here and he like teleported away.
Yeah.
Because we don't render if there's fog. Anyways, that's harder because each individual little brain on its own is it's on its own, so they don't necessarily go, oh, there's another guy coming. Now that doesn't mean that we can't add that intelligence in, but it's not as trivial as just don't go for the same anomaly. Mm-hmm. The best way, like if he's talking about the human player has multiples, the best way is to send one off one direction to hit Auto Explorer, and the other off in another direction to hit Auto Explorer, and then they won't try and tag team.
I've done that on insane maps when I have 10 survey ships. Well, maybe 10 survey ships. I don't know if I've ever had that many, but it is hard to micromanage them all. But I like to just hit survey, and eventually they all sort of seem to start gathering together, or a few will gather on one side of the map and a few on the other, and so I have to work to break them up. But it's not too bad. All right, the CW asked, Paul, here's a technical question for you. Is the XML value expression evaluator in the XML engine the same as that used in Sorcerer King?
No.
Since that one can parse calculation expressions and variables. If so, can the exposed variable documentation be posted on the forum? If not, so will this be implemented in the future?
We need to get some better modding documentation, but no, they're not the same system. There's quite a difference in the way the Sorcerer King one is like crazy flexible.
Do we have anybody to write modding documentation right now?
Not really.
Okay. Anybody
so
want to
that's
volunteer?
why we don't have
You're right.
much.
Right.
Derek would probably do it, but he's busy.
Sure.
And so we do need to get more modding documentation. But no, the one in Sorcerer King is the elemental one was written to be like crazy flexible. But the problem with that is it really affects performance. It really affects memory use. Mm-hmm. So we have things be a little more fixed. We have enums for stuff. And this maybe isn't exactly the right correct description, but so things are a little bit more rigid. Mm-hmm. That doesn't mean that you can't do what you want to do. It just means that it's not quite the same and as flexible as the FE one. All right.
Jono LR asked, any plans for a Civ-style Galactopedia in-game?
I would really love to. Right now, the team is maybe a little too small to start expanding into that. Mm-hmm. But I would wager at some point we will flesh that out a little more. It's harder these days to spend that amount of time that required to do it right for a small team when everybody just goes on the wiki and looks up everything.
Sure. I have a question for the group here, actually. We do have a Wikipedia that people can go and update on their own. Have any of you done that, and do you find that useful? So we'll wait for the recording to catch up.
Also, a lot of what we used to use the Galactopedia for was explaining bonuses and stuff, and a lot of that has been taken away by the tooltips. So it's less useful, but it is neat. It's a good feeling. You can actually sit and browse through things. Mm-hmm. I would like to do something with it, but it is a lower priority because of the two things I just mentioned.
Gotcha. All right. Ronan the Wizard said, could mined strategic resources be differentiated when zoomed out?
Holy crap. Look, oh, there must have been that event.
Oh.
You know, that's,
Look at
yes. And I was actually thinking of making them change the color of the race that's mining them. But the problem with that is I worry that will also be confusing. So we're playing with it, but I do like the idea of doing that. At the very least, maybe we'll end up putting a little ring around them or something that says they're being mined.
Okay. Well, that's a good idea.
There must have been the Durantium event because look at that. 1, 2, 3, 4. Wow. Somebody's having a good time here.
Myasha88 asked, what are the plans for diplomacy going forward? Right now, it's very messy.
Well, diplomacy is always messy.
Mm-hmm. In real life as well as in game.
But we have a lot of plans. We're going to add some more. We're trying to get things to value a little better. Right now, there's some exploits that people could do. We're going to add some new treaties like declarations of friendship, things that allow you to kind of work with the players, with the AI players a little smarter.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to add the ability to ask people to get out of your territory. We're going to ask, there's a bunch of things. Those are all going to be in 1.4.
Great.
Plus, there's a lot of usability in this screen that we need to address as well, apparently, because I've been so keen I can't actually do that.
Brunadin asked, are there any plans to add additional ship parts for existing factions?
As a rule, we just put new parts in as we go, and since you can mix and match, we've been trying to keep them separate. They're like anything that's just a free-for-all part is in the DLC folder. The Snathy will have their own set. There are no current plans, at least not in this, in any of the expansions, to do like more Dredgen parts or more Terran parts. Now, that said, in the first expansion, we will do that because we'll be adding new functionality, and those new functionalities will add, we'll need new parts, and so you'll get some new ones then.
Any chance modders could get some tools to work with the diplomatic values?
I guess I'm not entirely sure.
In the XML?
There already is some.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of diplomacy is the nasty part of diplomacy. A lot of it is AI driven, so it's not quite as easy to adjust. There are some things you can go in and adjust how much things weight, value each, how much AI values things, how much it's willing to offer to things when it's mad, how mad things make you. So those are all already adjustable in the XML. But there's still, with diplomacy, there's always going to be like a certain level of code-driven intelligence that will always push it one way or the other.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Jono LR says, last stream you told me to pester you about getting the rest of the ship design contest finalists in game. So pester.
Okay.
So you've been properly pestered.
Yeah. I mostly, honestly, have just been too busy to track that down. I mean, that'd be a good task to give to Brandon. I will do that.
Okay. A question from the forums. Colors. Any plans for colors at all? I would like to see a third color added just to mix it up a little more between factions, and the option to select your own. Please, for the love of God, we need colors.
We will be adding the ability to select your own colors. Not right away, but we are planning on doing that.
Okay.
Having a third color on, like, in the Zoc and everything is actually really hard. I am trying to figure out something we can do, because when you have 100 factions, it's very problematic.
Mm-hmm.
So we're toying with the idea of adding maybe a striping system. So you go, oh, that's red and blue. But even then, that's still not ideal. So
right.
We'll see. And there's only so many colors.
Right.
Like, it's hard to tell mauve from pink.
Yeah, I would have a very hard time at that level trying to tell.
Yeah, it gets very difficult, but we are definitely toying with that. We also want to make it so you can pick individual colors on your IDs. Like I said, those are all polished features, and right now we're more focused on the AI, the gameplay.
Larsenex asked, in the UP voting screen on most voted items, the no vote does not render. He said he'd send in a ticket with a screenshot.
The most voted items, the no vote does not render.
On most voted items, the no vote does not render.
On this screen? No, wait, this is a screen.
No, I think it's when you actually do the voting.
I will have to look at that. That is something I had not heard. Is it at a particular screen resolution or anything? Because
if so, add that to your ticket.
I remember seeing it recently, so maybe it has something to do with his particular settings. But I'll check it out.
PDEX asked, did Paul actually not work while on vacation? And I'll answer that one. I don't think you did, actually. I think you pretty much did not work while on vacation.
I did not work as much as I had planned on working.
Oh, for goodness sake.
But I did work. Remember, like the last few days where I had to do the Milky Way galaxy thing. And
that's true.
Things like that.
That is
and let
true.
me tell you, the internet on a cruise ship is super, super slow.
Yeah, it's terrible.
And expensive.
It is.
But I paid for it anyways.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I'm not sure it was worth it.
Oh, yeah, it was. I had to upload all my pictures.
That is true. That's really why we got it. We want to upload all the pictures. All right. So we do have other questions here. We have a whole bunch now all of a sudden. Creature of Existence asked, could we get a behavior for prototype technology value for the AI? So they want prototype technology and use them mostly on ships and fleet arguments.
That's just a weight. You can essentially do that by just weighting the components, making the components more valuable to the AI. So yes, you could do that. There's more to it. We want to actually make it value these things better in the first place. So there's some underlying technology that has to go in, but you could already kind of make it more important to them.
Look how unhappy Earth is.
Well, it's because I'm not playing it.
Okay.
Actually, they're in a state of rebellion. That's why they're unhappy. They're actually at 82.
Ronan the Wizard asked, when will assimilation treaties be added?
That is a harder thing than I was hoping it would be. So probably not right away.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's see here.
Look at this. There also must have been a good event here. Because look at this. There's 3 planets in Dredgy system. And what class are they? 25.
What?
Holy moly. Yeah, there's an event that triggers like 3 good planets in the galaxy. That event must have happened. And somehow they both ended up here. That should theoretically be impossible, but maybe all the other planets were taken already.
Maybe.
That's crazy, man.
Goodness.
Now the thing is, so what are you doing with these planets, Dredger? Nothing. They're just getting... Oh, they probably haven't had them long.
So Brunadin asked, is there a way to change the user data directory so that you don't have to have it on C, My Documents, for example? So that you don't have to have it on C, My Documents, for example.
Well, it's not. We don't specify that folder. It just goes to wherever your My Games folder is. So if you just in Windows move your My Games folder to somewhere else, like mine is in Dropbox.
Oh, right, right.
Then the game will just automatically move it there.
Now,
but
can you do that?
We don't hard code that location.
If you have active games.
When you move the folder
in
Windows, it'll say, do you want to move everything in here? And it'll move it all. If not, you could just create a new one and then copy your saves over.
Okay. Let's see. Nasalus asked, can we get some more direct influence over voting in the UP, like being able to bribe AI players from that screen?
Yeah, we're playing with stuff like that. That's a little further along, but we will eventually be adding a little more beef to the UP. As a matter of fact, I'd like to bring back the UP victory at the same time.
Myasha88, who had asked the question about diplomacy, she said further question, or he said further question on the diplomacy thing. Any possibility of seeing any decay over time on the negative effects, like leaving the UP, old wars, fighting the allies of other factions, etc.?
There already is a decay rate, but there tends to be kind of slow, so I would have to look at it to know for sure. Oh, look, the Iridium just took one of their planets. Looks like the Dredgen are going to die.
I think the Twitch stream died for some people here.
Oh.
Let's see.
Oh, I was the Dredgen.
Oh.
So when I said it looks like the Dredgen are going to die, there's a reason.
Okay, looks like they're back. The stream is back. That's crazy. All right. Brunadin asked, is there a plan to add retreat options for ships when they are attacked? They could use a speed mechanism for a chance of escape roll.
Not currently. It kind of tiptoes into like tactical gameplay. That doesn't mean we won't eventually someday do it, but no, we don't have any current plans for anything like that.
And the CW is a little bit too gleeful that you lost.
Yeah, well, it's what happens when you're not actually playing, when you're just staring.
When you're just staring at the screen, yes.
Yeah. Well, actually, I'm gleeful because that means the AI is smart enough to kill me.
Yeah, or
kill somebody.
Kill somebody. Yes,
and I
that's
just
pretty
happen
good.
to be that somebody. So yeah, that's a good thing. Oh, one of the things I did in we're doing 1.3 that is really silly that most of the people listening to this won't ever care about is that the right icon for free market? I guess it is.
For them, I think. Yeah.
Well, the free market is Iridium only.
Oh, I see.
Sorry.
See,
one of
this
the things
is what
we
happens
did
when I
that
don't play
the
Iridium.
people here won't really notice is we made it so you can now. Oh, so the default difficulty is now normal. Because I didn't even realize. I'm not sure when it happened, but the default difficulty was set to beginner, which actually handicaps the AI. So we don't really want that. I mean, they have literally like a -50 to production at that difficulty. So you might as well just be asking them to lay over and die. And
sure.
And when people are like, "Oh, the AI is so lame," and I know that the AI has problems, but that's not one of them.
I know Brad was complaining the other day that most people play the game on beginner. And
yeah, and I think it's because we have it set to
set
default
as the default
beginner. And no wonder they're, and I don't know. I said, I don't know. Maybe I did that. I might have thought that was the right thing to do, but if so, I reserve the right to change my mind.
Sure. I understand. I imagine that most of the people watching this stream play it not on beginner, but on at least normal, if not
probably higher. See,
higher.
We get people who crush the game on godlike because they know all the right things to do.
I can't imagine.
Quite a challenge for us to balance against.
I haven't even played all the races yet. I can't be crushing the game. I don't even know how to crush the game on godlike.
Well, it's mostly just you need to know the right little exploits and tricks. And, that's how all games are. I've watched people beat, Halo maps on Legendary in 3 minutes that took me 3 days to beat,
Eris Child said, you changed the specialization text from ovals to rectangles.
I did not.
I
That's
hate
a
that.
bug.
Why did you do that?
I didn't. It's a bug, and we just fixed it.
Okay.
And the embarrassing thing is I didn't notice because I'm so used to staring at the screen.
Yeah.
And then today, or actually a couple days ago, somebody said, hey, why are those squares? I'm like, oh, I don't think that's true. And today I was working at the Snathy Tech Tree, and I'm like, holy crap, these are squares. And it took us like 5 minutes to track down the problem. it was an efficiency. We had done something to make Listbox more efficient, and one of the side effects was it was checking for initialization, and because it was coming back as initialized, the check that said am I round or square was coming out square. So
I gotcha.
It's fixed now. That will be in 1.3.
Okay. Well, thank
Luckily,
goodness.
it's not a game breaking thing.
Because it ruined the game.
No, but it's really annoying because
Well,
you can't tell. You're like, oh, wait a second.
Right.
You know,
That's
is
true.
this right? Oh, wait, no, it's not. So
right.
There's a reason why they were different shapes. And,
yes.
We fixed
No, I understand. I was just teasing you. Because I know you love it when I do that live on the air. We have about 5 minutes left, so if there are any final questions, certainly let us know. And people are talking about whether or not Godlike is a cakewalk. So obviously, our watchers, our regular viewers here are
that's the thing is
hardcore.
Once you know the flaws that the AI has, that you can work around Godlike, and that's our challenge to fix, and we will continue to work on that.
All right, and I think I have one more question from the forums. Let me see if in the ship designer, can you move delete part in the parts editor away from the offset tab? Nothing worse than hitting delete after a few minutes of resizing a part to fit and wanting to move it only to hit that.
Offset. Oh.
Yeah. I don't know where else we'd put it.
I guess I could smudge this down a little so there's a little more room.
Maybe.
Yeah, that's a tough one.
It is when there's not a lot of room.
Yeah, like that. Oh, I broke my...
Right.
Yeah. What's weird is I've spent a lot of time in here and I've never had that happen, which is probably why I've never thought to fix it. I'll think about it. I don't know. I mean, maybe it'd be better to put it up here and move refresh to... I don't know. I'll think about it.
Yeah.
The only other option, and it would probably be annoying, is to have are you sure you want to delete?
That would be an extra step that probably a lot of people wouldn't like.
That, so
but
it's hard to tell.
Yeah.
But yeah, good point.
Okay. Good point. All right. Maesha88 asked, any chance we'll be able to see the ability to chain up selective choices in the tech tree? So I assume they mean stack.
Oh, like you want a queue. I really actually do want to add that. We currently, I don't have it on any of the patch schedules, but that doesn't mean it won't show up on one. Well, you can already do this. You could select low cost missiles, and then it'll just go there.
It'll go through all the ones.
They want to go, I want to do this, and then this, and then this, and then this.
Right.
And what's funny
Not
is we
necessarily
actually...
in the same tech tree.
We actually have the AI... has the ability to do that, but the human doesn't. It's strictly because of interface issues. So now what we might do is put it here, put a queue here, kind of like we have the search and the other thing. So I could say I want defense, and it would show up here, and then I'd say I want acquisitions, it would show up here, and then. So we'll see.
Okay. Jono LR said, Brad a long time ago stated he was in favor of redoing the campaigns from the previous games in Galciv 3. Is that something you still plan to do?
I really want to, but we need to, but it would be a while off because we have to get the game really super rock solid.
Okay.
And then because there's assets and things missing, we'd have to create new assets. But yeah, we totally can do it. It would be a little different, obviously, because game mechanics are different. But yes, we certainly can. The first expansion, the campaign will be a lot beefier, so that will be kind of our test bed to see if we're willing to go hardcore campaigning.
Okay. Well, I think that is all the time we have. I'm sure there's more questions, but at some point we have to let you get back to work and stomp bugs. So is there anything else you want to tell us about 1.3?
I'm sure there is, but I don't know. if I've forgotten anything. So I'm going to say no.
Okay.
And go back to get to work on it.
I think that's a great idea because you don't work enough. I'm hoping you take at least one day off this weekend.
That's the plan.
All right.
I have to run 18 miles on Sunday.
Oh,
so
see, that's not really off. That's not really what I meant, but okay.
All right.
All right. Well, thank you all for joining us once again. We really appreciate your questions because it does help us, kind of understand what the fans are doing and help us shape the game. Thank you for joining me, Paul, and for showing us your printed ship, your 3D printed ship. Oh, you look so pretty. Yeah. And join us again next week for Twitch streams for Offworld Trading Company, for Sorcerer King, for Servo, and of course on Friday for Galactic Civilizations 3. If you have questions for us, please post them on the forums, and we'll try to answer them either directly on the forums or in the Twitch stream. Thanks again. We'll see you next week.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.